I hope everybody's having a nice Wednesday. Hope the sound works. Well, I was kind of surprised that Savage Dragon won the unofficial poll request, but I don't mind it at all. Hey Jay, how's it going? Sorry I missed your call earlier. We were eating dinner. I know you are an avid Savage Dragon reader, and you were very vocal in Savage Dragon winning the contest there, to the point where you became the school bully. You embodied the embodiment of Nelson Muntz. So well, I know you've seen this before, but this was the sketch I got from Eric at New York Comic Con when we took the Fung Hua down. So I had brought the book, that Savage Dragon being the only book that I had a letter published in, a fan letter published in. I brought a copy of that book, and Eric signed it for me and chatted for a few minutes. He was very nice, and he had a couple of. That's right. I'll be honest, Jonathan. I was very surprised that Savage Dragon won. Delighted, but surprised. Big win for independent comics, I think, defeating the corporate megaliths. I was almost certain that Thor was going to win going into that. Is the sound working tonight, Jonathan, or am I garbled again? I think I've drawn Savage Dragon maybe since I was a kid. I drew him when I was little. He was one of the characters that, had the Image comics, so we copied. Sweet. Glad it sounds okay. Because, these were the comics when we were kids. Hey, no worries, Desiree. Thanks for popping in. Enjoy your seminar. But, these were absolutely marketed to, my generation. I love the matte paper. It was all action. And then one thing that was in my own comics was the pull-out poster in the middle. And I put those in my own books. And I always liked the Savage Dragon. Yeah, and you can, because they printed so many of them, you can still get them for $1 a piece. Still find them hiding out in the dollar bins. And yeah, and it was a book that you could pick up at any point because each issue, while it built on the story, like he told a whole story, and that's something that I appreciate a great deal. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you can pick up, if you haven't read it in ages, you can still pick up an issue. It's one of the only books on the shelf that you can do that. Like you can come and go and it exists in real time and he will catch you up in the story if there's stuff that you missed that you need to understand that particular issue. But I mean, Image was such a big deal when I was a kid. Like, they talk about, on Liefeld's podcast or when, they have interviews with any of the founders or, the Todd McFarlane uh, loyalists. Um, it was a huge deal because they were, drawing the books that we were talking about, on the playground. And that was a thing that happened at that time when I was a kid. We would talk about, oh, did you pick up Fatal Attractions or did you pick up, the newest issue of Uncanny or Spider-Man? Like that was a thing that still happened when I was a kid. I have no idea if people still talk about, oh, can you believe, you know, like I vividly have memories of going to school and people were talking about X-Men 25 for like a month. That was the issue that Wolverine had his adamantium ripped out. Spoiler. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And with Savage Dragon, it's all self-contained, and he's done miniseries and like spin-offs and stuff, but those are all self-contained too. Like you could go pick up, the early Dave Johnson art in Super Patriot and just read it by itself, having never read an issue of Savage Dragon and not be lost. And I've appreciated his other efforts, like the Next Issue project that he did, which was the Golden Age characters that he did new stories for. I always think of action when I think of Savage Dragon. I don't think I know there's a lot of like talking heads and character development, but it's always in your face action. So I'm drawing him like punching through the edge of a brick wall. Hopefully it comes out okay. Got to get the fin right because it goes straight ahead. It's one thing I see most people who get the fin wrong. They don't have the fin coming straight forward. Action and lots of blood. Yep. And in the early issues, they had so many guns. And as it went on, it became more and more and more like, just there were fewer guns and it was more like the punchy, smashy. And there's also like a kineticness to like how he would draw. Like it was not about locking down and doing like the slow brush lines or anything like that. He was not that he's dashing it out, but that oh, Mr. Glum, love Mr. Glum. This was my warm up. I did like a really quick, just sketch gesture. before I dove in on the cover. I didn't come up with a composition really. I had an idea, but just kind of flying from the seat of my pants on this one. I've been doing so many sketch covers lately. It's just, I don't think I'm more comfortable with them, but definitely have more of a method now that when I approach one of them. Yeah, his stuff in space or with, Savage Dragons, all the stuff in Dimension X, that was very fun. If I ever got to do a backup story, and I've tweeted this before, it would be Mr. Glum and She Dragon go on like a Cannonball Run style race through space. Well, in Savage Dragon, like, when Image really popped, had a crossover with Superman for crying out loud. Like you had Spawn doing a crossover with Batman, and you had Savage Dragon and Superman comics being made, and like just the thought of that from a creator-owned comic standpoint is just crazy to me. Like as a group of creators and a publishers, like your stuff is selling so well that they're like, please put our biggest oldest character that started the genre in your Savage Dragon comic book. That's cool. Yeah, that'll. It was a good book, but man. Yeah, they had so many space characters, and there's so much stuff going on, and like, I don't know. I also just think it would look cool in a little spaceship. Maybe it's shaped like Mr. Glum's head or something, and they're like bouncing off of nebulas and I don't think I have the issue here. No, I don't think so. The issue that my letter was published in, I have it in a box somewhere. Story of my life. It's in a box. Where? Somewhere. Will you ever see it again? Probably. No, I will. I know which box it's in. I just can't get it out right now. Another thing about those early Image comics was the gnashing teeth. Like that was a thing. Yeah, see, Ben Bishop did a backup, and so did Rich Woodall for Savage Dragon. I just don't know Eric, so I didn't want to be like, "Hey, Eric, can I draw in your comic book?" Like, you're the guy that draws those Tick comics. Yeah, I don't know about that. But I would definitely do it for free. So maybe that would. Not that he needs anyone to fill pages. That's for dang sure, since he's been doing it for 30 years on a monthly. Some logos, when you draw on them, you can see the pencil lines easier than on others. I would say that Savage Dragon is one of the tougher ones to see the pencil lines. So you're probably going to see me go over those lines a few times. One thing that I'd always noticed was that Savage Dragon has like a big Superman neck. So when you draw him, you have to draw the head going like way back. He's got like this big melon. And then his neck actually goes out. So you can see from this little quick sketch he did for me in like 10 seconds. When it comes down, the line comes down and then back and then out. There's no like muscle structure here. I mean, he's got mass, but it's not overly muscle. Maybe it is. Maybe. We have exchanged emails in the past. I will say that much. Like I said, I think he took pity on me because I wrote him a fan letter years ago. I sometimes am just self-conscious in general. I'll tell you one story. I walked into a comic book store in Louisiana visiting family, and we walked in, and I went and I found a Tick comic in the dollar bin that I was looking for to read, and it was just one of the random specials. And I took it up to the counter, and I didn't, say who I was or what I do or anything. I think that that's fairly egotistical to be like, hey, I'm the. But I just went up to pay for it, and he proceeded to tell me how much he disliked the Tick and all the comic books. Good times. I didn't say anything. I just gave him the money and I walked out of the store. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I mean, it used to be a really common thing. I mean, some books still have letters pages. Like they still have Fin Addicts in the back of Savage Dragon. Um, Maybe not in this one because it's like the anniversary issue. Yep, there's the Deadly Duo. There's Kill Cat. I went with Paul. Just the classic Savage Dragon. Just because that's what I grew up with, and I thought I could add a few little things as he's like punching through this wall. I was going to have like his aviator sunglasses falling off and cracking. Maybe not right there. Maybe right here. Yeah, I mean, it's a different time, I guess. Well, they actually used to in some of the old comics, and I'm sure you've seen this, and I'm sure you know since you're adept at this. But they actually used to, in some comics, put pen pals together. They used to be like, "Hey, if you want to write and talk about comics, you can mail this person." Hey, Jason, how are you? I don't think it's too insider. I mean, Jay, I mean, if you've read a Savage Dragon comic since when did Malcolm take over? Like around 190? We're cruising in over 300 now. Jay is a bully when it comes to Savage Dragon, I suppose. Yeah, it's just been busy. Things have been tough lately. But, you know, we just try to keep plugging along and keep moving forward. Some days it doesn't feel like drawing stupid pictures is really all that important. So, but have bills to pay. And really, at this point, most of my social circle is comic work related. Just chunk it in the bricks or whatever. Hey, I'm happy to talk to people and make it a little, hopefully, distraction for folks. That was kind of how all this started back during the COVID relief sketch drawing years, all that time ago. The one thing I did get, and I know people were asking about me making them available, is I did get a whole new stack of these, so I will be putting them on the website. I'm thinking about, because people have been asking about combined shipping, just making like a bundle where you can either get the single issue by itself, or you can buy like a handful of books, and I only charge you for the one shipping. And Jay, if you're watching the Celtics game also, which I'm assuming you are, if you could just give me a points update every now and again. I did see the Doctor Strange movie. I saw that in the theater. That's right. We do want the Celtics to win on this stream. If you're rooting for the Heat, then I can't help you. Gotta have the ripped shirt. It was always he didn't keep a shirt for more than like one or maybe two issues. I don't think he ever had to do laundry either because it was he would just blow up a shirt. Yeah, I went to Picture Show, the theater down by Market Basket. And look, I've been a reader of Doctor Strange comics for a very long time, and I like Sam Raimi movies. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a fine movie. It's a popcorn flick. The last 25 minutes were enjoyable. Yeah, Kevin, we don't know what those are anymore. We forgot what they were called. We forgot what they felt like. We're still in like a level of shock that Trevor Story has decided to remember how to hit. I don't know if they shipped in some of the Rocky Mountain air over Fenway Park, or if they're using the outfield cameras or Apple Watches again. I have no idea. But whatever the case, the Red Sox have in fact won several games consecutively. And if you call that a streak, I guess I have to believe you because you follow a winning team. And I was thinking on the back of doing like just a classic like Savage Dragon there with like the big machine gun in the city. Do a two-sided one. What do I do with my pens? And like I've told people, stuff like this, I usually just sell it in person at shows. I had a couple people ask where they could buy one. If I get to a point where I'm ahead, I will put them on my website. I actually don't have a convention for a little while till I think Plastic City. Not sure which one's first, Plastic City or Gem City. Yeah, and it's a good thing. And I like doing stuff this way. I find that with me, when people ask for commissions, I fall behind or I can't get them done. But when I am just drawing something that I want to draw after a long day, because I end up doing that stuff always on personal time. Instead of going out to dinner, instead of going to the beach or whatever, I'm at home drawing a commission that may or may not ever see the light of day again. And I don't know. I don't get motivated to do those. And that's my fault. So I just try not to, I understand that that's the standard that people expect, but I just don't want to get into situations where people are giving me money for things and then waiting and then they're mad. And then I'm always honest with people if I haven't done it or if I don't have time to do it and sometimes I just tell people that I don't want to draw what they asked for. Yeah, Pelletier is going to be there. I'm excited. Paul Pelletier is a hell of an artist. His run on Aquaman, I tell people, don't buy the Jeff Johns trade paperback out of the $5 trade bin, which all of them inevitably are now from the New 52. Get the Jeff Parker, Paul Pelletier run. I'm sorry. I just I follow these sketch groups and I see these people that get very angry and I just don't charge a lot because I don't like I don't do them necessarily for like the making a living portion for commissions. Like I do published work and I do graphic design jobs and I do illustration gigs. Like obviously it helps, but like I don't know. I don't want to anger the internet folks. And there are some people that are local that are in those groups that I see and they tell me one thing and then I see them on there and they say some really mean stuff. And just steer clear. I avoid commenting on any of that stuff. I did want to comment on the contract stuff going around, and I just want to mention it thusly. There's this idea that has floated around that creators are allowed to negotiate better contracts. Um, the power dynamic in publishing and comics is such that unless your name is above the title, like for example, Neil Gaiman's Eternals, or you know, pick any creator whose name appears above a title. They can negotiate. Um, they can always negotiate. But for the rest of us, they basically say take it or leave it, because someone else who is of the same stature will take the job invariably, and it will be the same bad um, circumstances that were either turned down or attempted to be made better by negotiation. Thanks so much, Kevin. That's really nice of you, man. Wall space is, and I mean this, and it's the truth. It's the highest compliment. Because that means they got to look at it. I mean, unless they put it, behind the closet door or something, as a joke. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that about contracts because I'd seen people say like, "Well, artists know what they're signing," and we do know what we're signing. We do read it. We do send it to our lawyer, who we pay with a nice bottle of wine. We do those things, but we don't unless you're of a certain status. The idea that you can just ask for more money or better terms or whatever is a false premise completely. And that's all I had to say about that. My Forrest Gump moment there. But yeah, and it's just been yeah, rough stretch, I would say. But we do have some exciting things planned, and hopefully stuff comes together. Like that's why we do all this prep work and all this planning for projects and pitching and unpaid labor that is pitching, that is doing the prep work and everything else. Oh, and I've definitely issued refunds for people that have asked for them without question. If somebody doesn't want to wait, I'm happy to refund their money. I usually don't ask for any, but sometimes people insist on like a deposit or whatever. But a lot of the times, I just ask to get paid when it's done. So that's generally how work goes for me, anyway. I also tend to think that, commissions are finite for an artist like me. I don't, I only have my audiences, if you want to call it that. Like, I just pretty much call it my pals. There's only so many of us. There's like 10 of us in the room right now. We're all just hanging out in my studio. Oh, thanks so much, Brian. Sorry, I missed your comment there. I did do some work on the upcoming Undersea Hero website after normal work today. It's going to take me a while, but yeah, it's just time. I have so much other stuff I have to do that I have to fight to make time to work on my own stuff. And I had to work on more stuff for NEC today, and they still haven't given us an answer. And, it can be frustrating. Pitching is frustrating, and it's a reinforced standard in the comics industry where they demand that you do unpaid labor to get a maybe or a no. The only thing that I think is when it comes to pitching is bad form by a publisher is really the non-answer reply. And if you go on several prominent publisher websites, they will say that if you don't hear from us, take it as a rejection. And if you look at like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee has posted like that was not the standard. They at least told you to go away for a very long time. They at least would give you an actual rejection. And sometimes they were cool and they would send you like notes like, hey, work on this, this, and this, and hit us up in 6 months or whatever. I still have my rejection from the New Yorker somewhere. Back when I thought I was an artiste. I think everybody's got a big stack of rejection letters that has been added, Nowadays it's mostly via email, but I also liked when they had to tell you to go away in person. That was always good. Oh, thank you so much, Joe. For the New Yorker, I submitted 2 things that I did my senior year of college, and I graduated from Curry College, and I got degrees in both English and in fine art. And I played baseball there. And what I submitted 2 things. I submitted a cartoon strip, and then I also submitted some illustrated poetry from my senior capstone class, which was on the sonnets, Shakespeare's sonnets. But thank you, Joe. It's very nice of you. Gotta have the ripped up shirt. I wanted him to look more like Dragon. I didn't want it to look like the Tick dressing up as the dragon, like his body shape. So I pulled a few of the cues that Eric uses in his art for like the neck muscles and where did I put that? Oh, it's over here. If you look at right here, how he does the trapezius muscles, and then you've got your shoulder and your scapular muscles on the back. I tried to have it be more like how he does it than how I usually do it. I'm not sure if Eric uses the Bridgman system. I've never heard him talk about which way he breaks down shapes. I've watched him draw. He's there's a few videos on YouTube of him drawing, and if you like the book, I absolutely recommend just seeing how he draws because it gives you such insight into his design and how his lines work. I also have what I would call some softer lines. Like this is not a Larson line. This has too. It's got too slow of a stroke. A Larson line, as I've come to, know them, has this kinetic energy because he does them so quick. Like these little lines right here, like does them so fast, and he has little zipper lines in there too. If I had a free hand, I would highlight more comments. You'll have to forgive me. I only have 2 arms at the moment. We'll work on getting a third one. Where else do I have rejections from? Absolutely DC and Marvel, but those were in the form of emails. I haven't submitted anything to them in years, to be honest. Um, I had one experience that I did not enjoy pitching with them. And I kind of was waiting until somebody else was handling that. DC, I just got a regular, like, we don't have anything for you at the time. And they gave me some notes, and the art editor that was there at the time was very polite, and it was a very pleasant. That was a very pleasant experience. And both of them were at conventions, so it's not like Well, one was at a convention, and then the other one was a follow-up set of test pages and emails and that kind of stuff. If there's one thing I could bring to it, and it's something I brought to when I was editing the Altered Reality comics is like I I have the ability to look at someone's pages and say they can draw or they can't draw. Now, I don't necessarily know if they can hit deadlines. Now, that's another thing that having someone do test pages can tell you if they can communicate and hit deadlines. But um, when I did all those portfolio reviews, I don't know, we did like a dozen shows where I sat and did portfolio reviews. And I would go through, at a busy show, maybe 20, at a slow show, 2. One artist whose work I still like to this day, Pepper DeLuca out in Colorado Springs. He did a portfolio review. Their art is terrific. They do watercolors. It's very anime influenced, but the storytelling, the character design, everything is just top notch. Thanks so much, Adam. Got a ways to go, but I think since I did a more simple shot this time, I think we got a good shot of finishing this one. Let's get the lights here. There we go. Don't want to mark up my Larson. We'll put that over here. Those were little, and I've recommended these people take these for sketches at conventions. If you don't want to use a book and you want to do individual sketches that are smaller and sometimes save you a few bucks, they're called multimedia pads, and they're about 6x9. They're not very big, and I've absolutely been able to get some deals on sketches just because the paper is so small, and they just do a little headshot or whatever. It's more of an extended autograph at that point. Which is when I ask a creator for a drawing, it's I'm not looking to flip it or anything. It's about having the memory of meeting them and maybe getting to talk to them for a few minutes about their work. This line that I'm doing right here, I want it to be not uniform. I want it to have some flow to it. So that's why I'm just kind of moving just kind of not too fast enough so that it stays straight, but it is contained within a box. So the geometry is already there for me. I don't have to worry about it too much. I think we're going to have to fill this in because we have to show part of the underside of his arm like that. switch back to the pen for a little bit because I'm gonna get some of these. Believe it or not, Eric actually inks a lot with a roller pen. It's not even like a Faber-Castell. It's like a Bic roller. It's like what my dad used to write on his legal pads with. It might be a Zig, but it's definitely a roller pen. Sorry about that. Sometimes I have to like reset the camera and the stream itself. Seeing spots. Is it still not, the camera's still not working? Oh, okay. Yeah, it went to like a screen where it just said you lost the connection. So I have to then go back into the little studio maker and then come back into the quote unquote room where you guys. What did it do? All I did was switch cameras for 2 seconds. I don't know. I'm too stupid for this stuff. Yeah, I did my workout and I didn't do my hair again, so I just have my natural hair. I didn't put any product in it or anything. Sorry if it frightened anyone or yeah. I definitely got made fun of. My hair got made fun of in school when I was a kid. I definitely am scruffy looking. Without question. My father would tell me I look like a schmuck. Supposedly there's a way to do like camera in camera, so if you needed to see my goofy looking face while I was drawing. This thing can do it, I just don't know how to set it up. I know that's how like the gamer folks do their streams. They all have like a second camera so you can watch their reactions or whatever. I think you would just see me doing my like trying to concentrate face most of the time. So I don't think that would be very appealing to anyone. There we go. Get rid of some of those pencil marks so I can make more. Huzzah. I think I pretty much cut me up with everything as far as like pop culture stuff I've been watching. I think the Doctor Strange was it. I saw the one thing that was kind of funny is we saw like uh, 5,000 commercials for the new Jurassic Park movie and the new Top Gun movie. They are pushing them hard, and we saw the trailers multiple times. I think we saw each one at least twice. And they were like slightly different trailers. They weren't the same trailer. I'm wondering on the Bob's Burgers movie if it's going to be like the Simpsons movie where it was just like a long episode, or if they're going to do something else, or like the X Files movies where they're like 2 hour episodes and they kind of fit in with what was going on. That was kind of hard to watch if you didn't already know a lot about the mythos. Of course, I saw both of those in the theater. Thank you, Kevin. Doing some fine work there. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I do wonder how the Bob's Burgers movie will be. Because I see the show's on all the time, so I've seen plenty of episodes of the show. To fix that part with whiteout, but that's okay. No one's going to care about that part, I don't think. Hey, it's a solid show. You know, there are some episodes that I find hilarious. There are some episodes where I do admit I kind of check out on. And I find that they're the kid heavy episodes, but I like it just fine overall. Kevin, I appreciate that you, like me, immediately will be like, "Oh, that was my fault. They're losing now because I did this." I was saying that to a friend of mine the other day when they were playing the Bucks, and I didn't have time to watch any of the games live, so I was watching them after the fact. And then the one game I watched live, they got their brains beat in. I was like, maybe I can't watch them live anymore. Yeah, no, it's a very Boston Celtics fan thing to believe. Have you ever seen Celtic Pride, the Dan Aykroyd movie? That is a movie that I think sufficiently covers the Celtics experience. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh well. Gonna have a fair amount of whiteout on this one, I feel. I mean, I like Teddy, and I like Zeke. I like for the other characters. Um, who's the kid that's allergic to everything? He's a good character. But they have some really terrific episodes. One of the early episodes I loved was with Mulissa, the cow that they adopt. Ah, yes, Rudy. Yes. Oh, we're gonna white out the whole fin area so that you can have the fin in front of the logo. And then I screwed up here. Um, so it'll be a whiteout heavy cover, which I think I'll actually start working on the fin right now. And gonna add some texture on the bricks in the background as we go. Art crawl was great. Yep. I mean, classic basketball is great. No, I got to admit, like, I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but this team this year, I like a lot of their players. I mean, he is a dragon. He's a savage dragon. I'll definitely do like an Axe of Helena cover one night, and we'll draw a nice big dragon because I have fun drawing those big mythical creatures because you can do them all sorts of different styles. Like I very much enjoy the Japanese interpretations, the old English ones. Like they have a lot of room to have different designs and look very cool. This is just a whiteout pen. These are Presto pens from Pentel. You used to be able to get them at the grocery store or the drugstore, but now I have to order them on Amazon because I haven't been able to find them lately. But they're super cheap, and they do a nice solid white, and it operates very much like a ballpoint pen, and it gets a pretty decent thin line. When I'm doing more of like a painterly technique, I'll use like the bleed proof white, which comes in a little jar. It's about $6 a pop. These are like $3 a piece. Toothless and Vermithrax, pejorative, are two of my faves. Cool. And I enjoy all this stuff, and I never got into Game of Thrones. People still give me some guff over that. Although the one thing I get to say when people are giving me guff for that is, whenever I do watch it, I get to watch it for the first time. Oh, I remember Dragon Slayer. Yeah, that was Stern, wasn't it? Or Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid. I've actually drawn Toothless a couple of times for kids. Once you said How to Train Your Dragon, I knew who it was because I've had to Google that. Thankfully, at conventions, on my cell phones are a godsend when it comes to characters I don't know. Although sometimes when they go too far off the beaten path, I'll be like, oh, I don't know, don't have any reference. At Free Comic Book Day this year, I was basically just copying these anime characters off of my phone, and it was funny. Like one of the kids, and this is just kids. He was like, "Oh, you drew him wrong." And then I showed him the picture, and he was like, "Oh, I remember that episode. It was very funny." I haven't seen The Witcher yet. Oh, I was thinking of Dragonheart. Peter McNichol. Yes, that's right. The guy from Ghostbusters 2 and Ally McBeal. My mistake. You're right. I do dig those old fantasy movies like Krull, The Glaive. Do the best you can. I'm sure you do that very, very well, Brian. I got to meet the kiddos, and they were very, very nice. Just like their pops. So I'm going to let that dry. And then I will I'll go in with a brush and add little details to the fin. Oh, I got the Crow Blu-ray for $3 at Savers, and we had a movie night of it, and it was just terrific. The Glaive. And I like all the bad ones too. I wholly admit I like all the bad fantasy movies as well. Like all the canon flicks, all the God, Roger Corman did so many. I like the post-apocalyptic movies like Death Sport and or some of those fantasy movies like Beastmaster. Loved Beastmaster as a kid. Oh, very cool. I did meet Mark Singer once at a convention, and I didn't speak to him long. I just said hello. Really enjoyed the show. He was in V as well, which I'm sure you know. Um, he was actually talking to a little kid, and he was being very nice and talking to him about what it was like to play a super heroic character, and didn't want to interrupt. It was really cool. I always appreciate when you see people really taking the time. He likes to be noticed. And maybe he was just having a good day when I saw him, which he was very very nice and taking his time with the young fellow. They had a few actors from V that were there. It was just fun, and it was not as like the trashy fun as some of the other movies like Deathstalker 2 or Gore or what was it? Yor? Was it Yor? It was. It's been a while. One thing that I like to do when I'm doing texture for background is not have the lines be too straight. You want them to be kind of uniform, but not too uniform. Kind of like I did here, but with pen and smaller. That way there's like a waviness to them. They don't distract from like the quicker, sharper lines on the rest of the piece. It's kind of a way to in pen and ink, it's a way to have the background be a little fuzzy. I've been meaning to rewatch it, Jonathan. I haven't seen it since high school. Are you telling me not to watch it? Is that what you're telling me? There are plenty of shows and movies that are like that, where it's like just leave it in the nostalgia bubble. But sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I just got to go through put the Willow DVD on, or and I'm definitely going to do the back. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll have the have Dragon here standing there looking cool with his aviators, and then maybe I'll have some of the other characters here. I'm going to use this one to the fullest amount of square footage I can. I couldn't do a wraparound because it's a square bound, so you can't really do a wraparound. You got to do a true front and back cover. Second or third grade, you loved it. I mean, I haven't like been like, hey, I used to watch Airwolf with my older brother loved that show. I don't know if it was the theme song or what. Like I got that he liked the A Team, because that was like a group of superheroes in a van fighting bad guys. Like that made sense to me. But Airwolf, I did not understand. But I probably saw like had to have seen 30 episodes of this show in my life when I was, I don't know, 6. I know the Neverending Story got like a big boost from the Stranger Things show. It's another one of those 80s fantasy movies. I'd like to say hello to all the new folks that just popped into the room. I can't see your names, but thank you for popping in. We're having fun drawing Savage Dragon. One of the hot comics of my elementary playground. And I think it's the only original Image title that I pick up at all anymore, and I pick it up pretty regularly. I tried reading Spawn 300. It's not for me. Glad people dug it. Not for me. I mean, Ernest Borgnine played one of the best versions of a demonic cult leader in The Devil's Rain with William Shatner. Rain spelled Rain, of course. Which that movie rules. And I rewatched Marty not that long ago, the movie he won his Oscar for. It's a very dated movie. It's a wonderful, yes, young John Travolta for like 10 seconds. Anytime I can see Bill Shatner with a cowboy hat in a horror movie, I'm there. One thing I did not know about Mr. Shatner, and I learned this hearing part of his panel at Rhode Island, which was on YouTube, is that he did dinner theater in Cape Cod back post Star Trek, but pre movies. Or at least that's what he said on the panel. So I very well could have had some fisherman buddies that saw Bill Shatner doing some dinner theater on the Cape when they were, bringing their catch in. Hey, thanks for popping in, Kevin. I'll catch you later. Go Celts. Enjoy your dinner. Hey, thanks, dude. Got to get the fin going straight forward. That's the trick. That's the thing that I think most people get wrong when they draw Savage Dragon. They have the fin like at an angle or curved or something. It is straightforward. I'll add a little bit of spatter if I have a brush handy. I know you've read plenty of Savage Dragon, Jay, so you've had to stare at the fin for 500 issues. And yeah, Desiree, the playoffs are still going on for the NBA and the NHL, but my NHL team has been eliminated. So we'll see if the Bruins can do anything this offseason. We'll see if Patrice retires. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we're all kind of in the same boat then. We all rooted for losers this year. Maybe next year. Yes. Yep. Hey, if you're a World Cup junkie, then, got to have different priorities. And I don't, the funny thing with TV around here is that I don't, with my level of cable, I don't get the local baseball team. And it was actually cheaper for me to buy the minor league baseball package for the year than it was to expand my cable to watch the Red Sox. So I actually can't watch the Red Sox at home. I'd have to go to a bar. Um, so I actually watch the minor league teams. I watch the Red Sox AAA and AA, and my brother works for the Reno AAA team, so I watch their games. And it was cheaper to get all of the minor league games of the whole season than it was to just get the Red Sox on my local cable. Yeah, for the most part, that's what I get to hear on the radio. I do listen to some sports radio just because, there's a station here that I've been listening to since it first went on the air. One of the local music stations changed format and became the Sports Hub. And I've actually been, because I used to have a commute to work when when it first started, and I would listen to it in the car on the way to work. Sorry, I know that that's not on the Eric Larson version, but I did thicken the neck muscle a little bit. I just put a teensy bit of sinew in there. Let me see if I can grab a brush here. See if I've got some ink floating around. I always have like these bottles with like 3 drops in the bottom. Because what happens is the ink actually gets thicker, and the particulates in the ink make it harder to use. There we go. That'll work. teensy bit more. Just one more spat over here. There we go. Yeah, I was just really happy for my brother who was working not in baseball for a long time. That's been his dream, was to get back into baseball. So he gets to work in baseball, and I'm still currently making funny books. So anytime anybody gets to do what they really want to do. My brother was definitely a better player than I was. We both played college ball, but he was a better hitter. Keep trying to get him to come on Facebook once in a while, but he's never around. I don't blame him. I actually think we're going to finish early tonight. I think that's what we're going to be doing. But I will definitely work on the back, and I will post when I finish it. I think we will be calling it an evening. I will sign the front, but like I said, thanks. I was trying something a little different. You know, he always has something coming towards the camera. And that's what I wanted to do. And thanks for hanging out with me. And thanks for picking Savage Dragon. Jonathan, thanks for the sketch cover. I will do the back drawing tomorrow, or over the next couple of days as I have time. And I hope everybody has a lovely evening. Have a good night.